Good morning, everybody, all my fellow Cambodians, all my expats, everybody that's interested in learning about Cambodia. Thought I'd do something different today because, yeah, like I said, my channel is about clarifying things about Cambodia and different ways that people behave, right? So one of the things that people should understand is that the culture difference, the behavior, how people conduct themselves, is not the same as how we do things, in the West. So I just want to share some of the things that I've learned since I've been here, and I learned those things firsthand when I was teaching in Phnom Penh about the culture differences, things that you do, things that you shouldn't do, right? So yesterday I posted that video about the CMs and stuff, and there's a fellow Cambodian American brother who was saying things, but it's okay. I won't put his name out there. So my job is to clarify and help educate. So it's okay. Chăm mongជួយបញ្យល់ okay រឿងរបៀបខ្មែរហើយរឿងរបៀបគេនៅអាមេរិកមិនដូចគ្នាទេនៅស្រុកខ្មែរគេគោរពគ្នាអញ្ចឹងបើគេទៅកម្មវិធីអីមួយគេមិនសូវឡូឡាគេមិនសូវចង់និយាយថាធ្វើអីដូចឡូឡានៅដូចនៅអាមេរិកយើងធ្វើអីយើងឡូឡាយើងប៉ះគ្នាយើងអីបានប៉ុន្តែនៅស្រុកខ្មែរអត់ដូចនៅនឹងទេនៅស្រុកខ្មែរយើងគោរពគ្នា okay so I wanted to show you this there's things that you do that are way different than in America, right? You conduct yourself differently. So in Cambodia, I can say that the culture is very conservative. So very conservative means that the way that you conduct yourself is based on respect. So you have to respect other people, whether they're younger or if they're older than you. So the way that you talk to people, the way that you like interact with them, you have to use respect, okay? So if you go to like a party, you go to like a function or something, and there's people around you, even if you know them, because it's a function, right? It's formal. So when you're in a formal setting, you don't go in there and be loud and act crazy, because so this the person who commented was saying that it looked like I wasn't enjoying myself at the wedding, and he was saying that those girls weren't talking to me and I was supposed to like crack a joke or something to get them to talk to me. But there's a misconception with him. He doesn't understand, like when you go to a function like that, when it's a formal party, like a wedding, you have to conduct yourself respectfully. So I'm there, I have my wife, and those girls that are staying around are all my cousins. They're my relatives, okay? So I'm not trying to flirt with anybody, all right? So even if they weren't related to me, you don't go to a wedding function like that and try to flirt with everyone, okay? So most of the time, the women that are sitting at the table with you are somebody's wife. So you don't go there to try to flirt with anybody. So when you're at the wedding, there's people, like drinking and having fun. And what you don't do is try to flirt with a girl, because it'll make her look bad. Because even if she was single or not, in Khmer culture, she's not supposed to flirt around, okay? The only person that she can do that with is her husband. So out in public, at a formal function like that, you don't mess around. And even when people start to get drunk and get, like turning up, like in the party, you can see on the dance floor, even out here in the village, that people who are up dancing on the dance floor, the men are dancing with the men, the women are dancing with the women. And that's a culture of respect. That's what happens. Like even me, when I, start to drink a lot, when I get to, I go up there and start dancing, just men dance together. The women, they dance together because it's respect, okay? That's how it is. So I want to invite you to come out here and experience it for yourself so that you can see, like American way and Cambodian way is not the same. Because in America, you can go and you can flirt with anybody and, and who knows, after the party, you can go home with them. But here in Cambodia, it's not the same. It's based on respect. And people do things because it's conservative and they don't want to come across as looking, ruining their reputation, okay? So, okay, another thing about Cambodian culture is there's not much physical contact. There's not much physical contact that happens with, amongst people, even if they know each other. Like in the States or in the West, right? When you see somebody, you haven't seen them for a while, you hug them, like, oh, hey, man, I miss you, and you hug them. But here, no, it's no physical contact, not as much, only with like, your kids or whatever. But when they see you and they, just first meet you, they'll, like that. So there's no physical contact between each other. Even like between husband and wife, when they, he comes back from work or something, there's no physical contact, they don't really like show it. So that's one thing you have to keep in mind, especially like I have some subscribers who are expats, right? The expats, I'm pretty sure you have like a like a loved one or something here in Cambodia, and you're thinking about retiring, or if you're thinking about moving here. That's the thing. You have to keep in mind there's not much physical contact that happens between couples, like out in public. Most of the time, like the physical contact happens at home. They're really like shy about showing it. So you have to get used to that, okay? Staring. I remember when I was in Phnom Penh, right? I was new to Cambodia, and you know how in the States or in the West, it's rude for people to stare. And when I was in Phnom Penh, people would just stare at me. And I used to wonder like, what the hell is this guy staring at? And it used to offend me. And eventually I started to understand why. It's because I'm different. Because I'm different, my demeanor, my build, even my features. I don't look Khmer. People think that I'm Chinese. So when they see me, they're trying to figure out like, where is this guy from? What country is he from? Because I'm a foreigner. So when I come here, they're trying to figure out like, what nationality is this guy? And they'll just stare at you. So don't get offended by that. Okay, they're just trying to figure you out. That's it. They don't mean anything bad. They just want to see. They just want to know, like, where's this guy coming from? Like, what country is he, coming from? So, yeah, most of the time, but if you look at them while they're staring at you, they'll smile at you, They'll smile at you, like, just automatically. And it just, that's the thing, like, the culture difference between in the West and in Cambodia, right? It's rude in the West to stare, but in Cambodia, they're doing it because they're trying to figure you out. They want to know where you're from. So, yeah. Even to this day, people still stare at me. If I go to like Siem Reap and Ko Wat, once I walk in there, you can see like the local tour guides. They'll come up to me and speak Chinese, like "xie xie," and I'm like, no, I'm Khmer, Okay. Another thing that we as Westerners have to remember is that pointing, right? Here in Cambodia, it's not okay to point. It's rude. So pointing is something that you do to animals, okay? Like if you're talking about a dog or something, or if you're pointing at, like something happened. Like if the only time you point at somebody is because they did something wrong. Like if they stole something from you, or if they cuss you out or something. So if you see somebody pointing at somebody in the face, there's something wrong, okay? So you have to make sure that you don't do that. So when I was teaching in Phnom Penh, I had, like students and everything. I remember going through the training course about teaching, and they're trying to tell us, like, when you are teaching in Cambodia, you can't, point like when you call a student, right? So if I call like Srei Pich or something to answer a question or, like explain something, I wouldn't point at her. I would use my hand like this, and I would say, Srei Pich, can you answer this for me, right? So it's better to do this, Or even when you call somebody, like to come here, it's kind of rude to do that. And you'll see, like most Cambodian people, they'll use their, they use their mouth to point at something like over there, because it's rude to use a finger to point. So just keep that in mind, all my expats and all my Americans. Also, one thing that you have to keep in mind, it's not the same with how we interact with girls or with women, right? Like in the States, if you're single and the girl is single, you can go up to her and just talk to her and ask her for her phone number and stuff like that. But here, it's conservative here. So for you, you have to remember to respect women, right? So if you want to talk to her, if you want to get to know her, you have to give it some time. You have to be patient. Uh, Women tend to not interact with strangers, okay? So if you were to see like an attractive girl or something out in public, you can't just go up to her and say, hey, can I have your phone number, or can I get your Facebook or stuff like that. That's odd. That's weird. You don't do stuff like that. Because if you go up to a complete stranger and ask her, she's gonna shy away and say, "No, who the hell are you?" So the only way to get to know them is if you know their friend or something, and then you talk to their friend like, "Hey, how is she?" And then she'll ask her friend like, "Who is that person?" They want to get to know you from like a third party. But if you just go up to somebody out of nowhere and just try to interact with them, they're gonna look at you like you're a weirdo. So you have to remember that and keep that in mind. Everything is based on respect, and it's a conservative culture, so you can't do the same things that you do in America in Cambodia. So yeah, keep in mind. Also, when you talk to somebody, so if you were to come and interact with somebody, like if I was to call a student, to come and talk to me or anything, the student would come and they would have to sit down, take a seat, right, and speak to me. So if I go to somebody's house and I wanted to talk to them, once I get into their house, they'll ask me to sit down. So it's respect, so that we're on the same level. So you don't want to stand up and you talk to somebody that's older than you. Uh, as soon as you start talking to them, what you should do is try to find a chair so they can sit down, and so that you're level with them. Because if you're standing up and you're talking down to them, it's like you're talking to a kid. So it's rude. So keep that in mind, all right? Also, sitting down to eat. In the West, right? When we do things, we're always in a rush. We're always in a hurry. We don't have time to really sit down and enjoy our food. And it's normal, to walk around and eat like a hamburger or something. Just be on your feet all the time, or while you're driving, you're sitting there, driving, you're eating. But in Khmer culture, you have to remember, like it doesn't look good when you do that. What you have to do is you have to sit down and just enjoy your meal. That's one thing I wasn't good at. I was always, like in a rush. I was always, in a hurry, because in the uh, in the work environment for in America, you get a 30-minute lunch. So 30 minutes, you have to eat and take a break and do whatever else you need to do. So I was used to that. And then when I came to Cambodia, I saw how everybody else was like, hey, sit down. They'll sit there and they'll enjoy their meal. Like I spoken about this before. The lunchtime for a teacher from 10:30 to 2 p.m. So that's like 2.5 hours of just, 4.5 hours, right? 10:30 to 2 p.m., 11, 12, 1, 2, yeah, 4 hours, man, just of a break time. And I used to wonder, like, man, why is there so much space for lunch? And it's because you're supposed to enjoy your meal. You're supposed to let your food process and all that, and digest. And I was like, man, that's when I was like, I started to change the way that I ate, and started to enjoy my food. And even here now with my wife, when I first came to the countryside, she used to say that all to me all the time, like, you don't enjoy your food. You take, like, you eat so fast. She said you don't give yourself time to digest and stuff like that. But now I'm starting to do that, giving myself time to sit and digest the food. And it makes me look at myself like, man, I used to be in such a rush. I used to be so impatient. I remember when I first came to the countryside during COVID, right? And my wife, she made a ball. She made some ball and she gave me a big bowl. I'm like, oh man, I can't wait to eat this. As soon as I had got the bowl, I took like the spoonful and I just put it in my mouth, and it was hot and I burnt my mouth. And my wife was like, I told you have to slow down, you have to wait, give it time to cool down and then just eat slowly. Like even when you're done eating, right? Me, I usually finish eating, then I want to go like shower, And she was like, just wait, let your food digest first, wait like 30 minutes and then go shower, And I'm like, man, that's like a big lesson that I'm learning from my wife, Like I used to look at the people in the countryside like they're outdated, like they're not with the modern times. But to be honest with you, they live slow and they live patient because they know how life is supposed to be. It's just take it easy, go slow, just go with the flow of everything. There's no need to rush, And I'm just now learning that, Enjoy your meal, enjoy your time, No need to rush for anything. It's gonna happen no matter what. So yeah. Another thing that you have to do is when you walk by like an elder or something, somebody that's older than you bow down a little bit. It's rude to walk past them with like standing up straight. So what you have to do is you have to show them respect by bowing down just a little bit when you walk past them. Say there's an elder like on the side of me and I have to walk past them. I'll walk by and I'll have to crouch down just a little bit just to show respect. So these are just tips that I'm giving to all my expats, all my Americans to keep in mind, So I'll go over them again. So physical contact, remember, it's not the same, as in the States. In the States, you can, hit each other, smack each other, you give hugs and stuff like that, Here, it's not, there isn't much physical contact that's happening, especially between couples out in public. Physical contact is usually kept at home, all right? Staring, you'll experience a lot of people staring at you because you're different, You look different and they're trying to figure out like where you're from, like the way that you dress is different, the way that you talk, they'll know right away that you can't speak Khmer properly. So they just stare at you and try to figure out like, where is this guy from? So don't be offended by those things. And also pointing, remember, do not point at people. Do not use your pointer finger to talk about stuff, What you have to do is just use your hand like this, If you have to talk to somebody or call in somebody, use your hand like this, okay? And remember, if you are interested in like somebody, you don't go to them directly. You will have to get to know like, one of their friends or one of their family members. Like there has to be a third party to introduce you guys, and then you guys can start talking and you guys can start interacting with one another, right? But with Khmer girls who are like conservative, they won't let you hold their hand. They won't let you like touch them or anything, right? Because what they want is they want to get married. They want to have a husband, And for Khmer girls, one and that's it. Like I said with my wife, when I met her, she was 39, and she's never had any guy touch her hand. She's never, had a crush on anybody. Like she's never experienced any of that stuff, So when we met and we started talking, I wasn't able to hold her hand. I wasn't able to do anything until we got married. And once we got married, it was just, that's when things change. So you have to keep that in mind. Conservative culture, okay? Sitting down to speak. When you speak to somebody, it's just a sign of respect, right? Make sure you guys are leveled with each other, The person that you're talking to is sitting down. You're sitting down also, As soon as you start talking to somebody, especially if it's an elder, make sure you sit down and you talk to them. That's respect. Or sometimes if an elder comes up to you and asks you a question and you're laying down, as soon as they come and ask you a question, make sure you sit up. Sit up and then speak to them instead of laying down, okay? Because you don't want to look like you're slouching and that you're lazy, because it's rude to do that, okay? Oh, there's one more thing. There's a way that you, if you were to hand something to somebody, right? So, like if I was to hand this water bottle to somebody, right? I wouldn't hand it with just one hand, like, here, take this, right? I would hand it with a hand. The students, when they were handing me something or their work, they would do this. It's a sign of respect, right? Or you can use both hands to hand it to them, right? So you can see that, like with my business, right? When we sell stuff, when the person is paying for something, they'll hand it to me with both hands, or they'll just do it like this, Even when you're at a party, when you're drinking, and they want to cheers with you, you don't cheer with just one hand. You go like this to respect the other person. So yeah, keep that in mind, right? These are just things that I want to share with everybody. Thank you for all the subscribers. Thank you for all the questions. I'll try to answer more questions as I go, and I'll try to make things a lot more positive. All right, guys. See you later.